What's up out there? We are back with some more learning Path of Exile. In today's video, I want to discuss build guides. I've had a lot of comments about, hey, why aren't you using a build guide? Hey, why aren't you using a build guide? And in today's video, I want to explain why you don't want new players, somebody that maybe hasn't beaten the campaign yet, maybe they're just starting the game, maybe they haven't even downloaded the game yet, they're just interested in it. In my opinion, you do not want to just hammer those people with build guides. Bad idea. So, the thing is, now hear me out before you go furiously typing in the comments down there. Listen to what I got to say. I am not saying do not follow a build guide. I am saying you should follow a build guide, but it is when you should follow a build guide that is the question. Dumping somebody off brand new into the game and saying, here, go follow a build guide first is a little misguided. Let me explain. I will start off with an analogy. Basketball. You're out shooting hoops one day. You're dribbling the ball, you're shooting the ball, things like that. Some kid walks up and says, hey, that looks cool. How do I do that? Would you, A, tell the person to go to the library and read up about Michael Jordan, LeBron James, people like that? Or would you hand him the ball and show him how to dribble or allow him to dribble and figure that out on his own and shoot and try to make try to hit the basket and all that? I'm pretty sure if you tell him to go to the library, he's not going to do it. He's going to say, well, this sucks and move on. That's the problem with telling people go find a build guide to begin with. There's way too many build guides out there. They're built for league starts. They're built for in-game stuff. They're built for specific mechanics. They're all over the place. They're broken. They're old. Which ones are the good ones? Which ones are the ones that are supposed to be the best ones? What's a good one for noobs? And then you come in and it's a new league and bam, this one's gone and it's broken again and you can't use it. It needs to be modified because they've changed stuff. Like, I get that you want to tell somebody go follow a build guide, but it's misguided because the person hasn't learned to play the game. Like, you've got these flasks down here. Well, the build guide doesn't usually, from what I can tell, doesn't tell them how to use the flasks, doesn't tell them how to go in here and link sockets or change the socket color, doesn't tell them where to put the skills on here. And I have a particular way that I like laying my skills out so that when I'm pushing buttons on my keyboard, that it works in a particular way. I have the one that I use most off to the left, and then it goes to the right for the least used ones. The ones, especially like something that I just want to turn on, toggle on or off, I put it on the farthest right because I don't use that button that much. And things like that. Basic things, basic pieces of the game, the basic core mechanics of the game need time to have played. And it took me hours to not hit this S button and pull up this social screen while I was panicking in a big group of mobs, because I'd be trying to hit the W key or something like that or whatever, and I'd miss and I'd be all, oh my God, well, I'm hitting the wrong button and I got that social thing popping up, or, I'm accidentally hitting the escape key. Like, there's a lot of things that you need to get repetition of motion done. Repetitive tasks are not taught by a build guide. A build guide, from what I can tell, shows you what to do with the passive tree and what to do in this to a point, but it's not going to tell you, it's going to tell you to find certain gear. What happens if you don't get the drops that you want? Can you adjust other gear to it? Build guides don't tell you crafting. Build guides don't tell you any of these other mechanics, from what I can tell. And you've got high level 5,000 hour players telling somebody that's played for an hour that they need to follow a build guide, otherwise they're going to have a bad time. I've played through this game with 2 characters, all the way to what I'm going to call in-game, and I saw a bunch of people arguing about where in-game starts. To me, once the campaign is done, that's in-game, period. I don't care if it starts on tier 5 or 20 or 90, it doesn't matter. As soon as the campaign is done, that's in-game. And I would also add the in-game, the game changes quite a bit. You go from a very structured game in the campaign to absolutely no structure. You have to go figure out how to do all the in-game stuff. Where do you want to go? Yeah, it's wide open and you can do a lot, but you lose all that structure. So it changes. So you're trying to learn all this. You're trying to make sure your keyboard's going right, or if you're on controller, on console, you're trying to figure the game out. And then you've got somebody screaming at you to go follow a build guide. And then you throw this path of building thing at them. And now they have to learn another separate tool outside of the game, or follow a website or follow a video or whatever. Like you're dragging them outside of the game instead of encouraging them to play the game, which is the whole basketball analogy. Why would you send somebody to the library when they want to just play the game and enjoy it? So, long tirade short, sort of. My point with this is that it's in a new player's interest to play the game. So, do I have an actual recommendation here? Yes, I do. If you are a person that is just wanting to check this game out and see if it is for you, download it, play it, and see if it's for you. And that's it. Don't follow a build guide. Don't do all this other research. Don't put all this other time into it. Because if you're not going to like the game after an hour or 30 minutes or 2 acts or whatever, if you're just not going to like it, if the game doesn't click, there's no point in putting all that extra work into it. And it's not going to make it any better. A build guide does not make this passive tree any different. It might tell you where to put the nodes, but it's not going to change this passive tree. It's not going to change the grind that you're going to have to get to find the gear. It's not going to change the fact that you may need to trade. You may need to do other things to get this stuff going. You're still going to have to learn all those mechanics. If you are interested in the game and you find yourself enjoying it and you want to complete the campaign, maybe you just want to complete the campaign and be done. Well, again, I don't think I would follow a build guide. Just play the game and see if you can get through the build game or get through the end game. Get to end game. Because I've done this successfully on 2 different characters, and my experience has greatly improved on my second character that I tried on a DIY character. The first one was a horrible mess. I died a lot. I had a lot of fun doing it. I really loved it. And then on my second class that I tried, I died far less, like 10 times less, like way less on the second time around. And I noticed a significant improvement in my skills. I noticed a lot less issues with my keyboard and my skills because I'd already worked out what buttons to click where I wanted certain skills, how I wanted certain things done. I had already worked all that out. So what is the actual advice that I'm going to give to a player that wants to stick around? I presume if you're going to stick around long enough to complete the campaign and probably start working on endgame and stuff like that and be excited for leagues, not just the current league, but the next few leagues, you're probably going to be like me and have, hey, an idea. I wouldn't mind trying this class out next time, or this class. Hey, I haven't tried that. Maybe you start seeing some builds. Like right now, what I'm working on is Pox's Righteous Fire build, if I haven't mentioned it. So this is what I'm working on right now, and I'm following it. He's got this path of building thing out here. So I'm trying to follow all this and learn it, which is great. This is my time to actually learn this, and this is my advice to new players, is I took the time to complete the campaign on a do-it-yourself build one time. Then I said, you know what, that other class looks really cool, and I beat that on another do-it-yourself build the second time. So now I'm sitting here thinking, well, we've got this league coming up in a week or so. What build do I want to play? And I think I want to do this Righteous Fire build. And also when making this video, I thought, if I'm going to make a video about build guides, I kind of need to start playing one. So I've got a few hours into this one, and I'm already seeing the fruits of my efforts. The efforts that I put in to learn how to play this game through 2 characters going through the campaign is paying off on this build. Because I now know how to address the problems that I'm running into. And I would not know that if I started with this build guide. In fact, I looked at this build guide. This Righteous Fire thing has been coming up a lot since I've started, even before I started playing this game. I was seeing this mentioned quite a few times. And I had no idea how to actually follow this stupid thing. Path of building and all this stuff. But now that I've put, 80 hours into the game, it's starting to make sense. Now, does that mean that you as a new player need to put 80 hours into the game? No, that's not what I'm saying. I was watching a video can't remember who it was, but it was some dude talking about he played 300 hours in the game before he even looked up a build guide. So he basically got really comfortable with playing the game before he looked into a build guide. He knew the benefits of following one. He just held off a little bit longer than I did, or probably other people. So the advice that I would have is that I think you will know when you're ready to do a build guide, because you won't have all these stupid problems of clicking the wrong button at the wrong time, or you'll have your, you'll know where to put your, you'll have a better idea what to do with flasks. You'll know where your skills go. Just the absolute most basic stuff will be sorted out, and you'll be like, okay, this is all starting to make a lot more sense. Now it's time for a build guide. And it would probably be for your second character at the very least. I don't think I would probably, if you're going to build something garbage for the first one, let it just be garbage. You can respec some things here and there, but if it's garbage, just let it be garbage, finish the campaign, get done with it, and then start up on another character or another class. Chances are, if you're like me, you'll find a weapon or something. You're like, hey, that's a good melee weapon. I wouldn't mind trying that. You know what I mean? Or you'll find some skill gems. You'll be like, hey, that looks cool, but that's more magic, or that's more melee, or that's more ranged, or whatever. And then you might get an idea for another build. That is when you want to start looking at a build guide. When you have that fire to try another style is the time for the build guide. So that's my advice, is to basically play the game. Just fire up the game, play it, go through it, get through it as much as you can, and just play, just have fun. Don't listen to people that tell you you have to follow a build guide all the time. Save the build guide for when you're comfortable with the game. If you get comfortable with the game an hour into it, or if you really want to plan out and start playing before you've ever played the game, you want to start with a build guide, that's fine. That's perfectly acceptable. But I think in general, most people would benefit from actually just playing the game, seeing if they're going to like it, trying it out, having fun with it, and then if they don't like it, they don't have to lose all that time researching stuff. If they do like it, then they'll figure out, maybe I want to try this class, or maybe that one, or hey, that looks cool. You know what I mean? Like, then you get some options in there. And I think that's the advice, is to just run through it. Practically speaking, if you want an actual metric for it, I would say finish the campaign one time with a trash build, just one time, and then see where you're at. If you still feel like you're having fun and you just want to tinker with stuff, go through a second character and play through it. The stashes are shared, so you can come down here. All this stuff here is from my ranged build that I worked on. So I've got all this extra stuff in here that I can use. She was building up all these gems and stuff. I had a whole bunch of stuff in this quad, a bunch of gear that I probably could have used, but I sold a bunch of it off just to clean it out. I didn't want to keep it. And I wasn't sure what I'd do with this. I've been building up like uniques and essence and stuff like that. Like, that's going to seed this character. So that DIY build that I did for the range side is now seeding this build here, which is good. I mean, that makes things better. I can use her to go buy gems that I need and just dump them off in here, and he can go pick them up. You know what I mean? So it's not a waste of time, because you can just roll it into the other side. So that is it. That is my spiel. I don't think I have anything else to say on this for the moment. So let me know what you think down below. I know there's a raging debate on when to follow or whether you should follow build guides. And I don't think the question is, like I said before, I don't think the question is whether you should follow a build guide. I think it's when. And for the veteran players out there, I would invite you to, instead of just saying, go follow a build guide, if you're going to throw that advice out there, have a build that you think is good for beginners ready, and just link it and drop it to them. Say, this is the build guide I think is good for regular players. You know what I mean? Because just saying, go find a build guide is telling the kid to go to the library and read about something else. It's kind of useless information. You've got so much stuff to weed through, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent. And like I said before, a lot of these guides don't really tell you the whole picture, and they may leave a lot out. So by just shoving somebody into that, you're kind of doing them a disservice. So anyway, that's it. That's the whole premise of this video, is to just discuss this. And again, I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that people should avoid build guides. I'm saying new players that have 0 hours in the game should at least put some hours into the game before they actually go looking for a build guide, because that's a whole other world, and a whole lot of other complications on top of an already complicated game. Save that for when you're ready to go look into it. That will do it for this video. We will catch you on the next one. Take care.